great to see all of you here. We have a full house, so sorry if it's a little pushy. We were trying to have volunteers sit with their cohorts, this group, or at least their grade level cohort, because we did that with one of our trainings last year, and it was really valuable to meet the other people in your cohort. We do have some people missing, so your whole cohort might not be here. But it's so great to see you all. I'm Angie Holman. I'm the Executive Director for Ravenswood Classroom Partners. And I'm going to be joined on the stage today with two wonderful educators from the Ravenswood City School District. We have Shauna T. Gray over here, who's going to be presenting today. And Shauna's the new director of teaching and learning. She just joined Ravenswood this year, but she has a wealth of experience, most recently in Oakland Unified School District. So she's been a principal, a teacher, a coach, all kinds of things. Everything, check all the boxes. And then in the very back corner is Kendra Bragg. And Kendra is the intervention coach for Ravenswood. And she's been with Ravenswood a really long time, but mainly in middle school. So this is her first opportunity of working with the younger kiddos that we work with. And so, yeah, she presented actually on Tuesday. She did our 6th presentation. And so also just amazing wealth of knowledge. So we're in good hands. So you guys all know what we do, so I'm going to go pretty fast kind of through a little bit of background, but I do want to talk about some student and teacher expectations today. So little introduction, we're going to talk a little bit about student needs and how to support your teacher, and then the heart of today's presentation is curriculum. So who we are. So we now support TK through 6th grade. This is our first year. Well, we did a little dip into the middle school during COVID, but it's our first full year of in-person support at the middle school. So we're starting small in 6th grade. We have 8 volunteers this year, but if it goes well, we're going to grow it. And we're working with a small group of 6th graders that have passed out of 6, but they need, 6 is the phonics program that the district uses. Sorry, let me turn this up. Of course, it's a telemarketer. But these kiddos need additional fluency support, so our volunteers in 6 will also be doing fluency with them. So we support the same teacher in the same classroom for the full year. So each of our elementary school teachers has 4 literacy volunteers. So one Monday, one Tuesday, one Thursday, one Friday. There's no intervention on Wednesdays, so that's why we don't have a Wednesday person. And then we have a few select classrooms that have some math support. So we have a few teachers where we've done math for years with them and they continue to want some math support. But we're primarily here right now for literacy because that's one of the district's top priorities. And kind of the statistic I'm always so blown away by is we actually touched the lives of 450 Ravenswood students last year. So the district has around 1,500 students. So that's literally 1/3 of the students in the district worked with one of us last year. That always blows me away. When I met with the brand new chief academic officer, Omar, a couple weeks ago, I said, we have 135 community volunteers that come every week. And he's like, no way. And I said, yeah. So, it's pretty wild to think that, we can get this many people to support the students in our community. So, it's very heartwarming. So, what does the district look like? 98% of the students are students of color. Many of them are socioeconomically disadvantaged. Almost half are housing insecure or homeless. Doesn't actually mean they're living on the streets, but when questioned, they don't know what their housing situation might be like in 30 days. 59% emergent bilingual learners, and like I said, there's about 1,500 students. I haven't gotten the new number, but we're pretty close to that. So I'm not going to show this video, but I'll send the slide deck out, so if you want to watch it, it's a really awesome KQED video, and it just talks about how the relationship that a child has with the adult teacher is so important for learning. Students really need to feel safe and supported to learn. And so that's why it's so important to have, obviously they have wonderful classroom teachers and wonderful interventionists in Ravenswood, but we're just one more trusting adult in these kiddos' lives. So sensitivity to diversity. Obviously these kiddos, many of them come from backgrounds that are very different than ours. And so just being sensitive to the fact that sometimes words that are really common for us aren't so common for them. Like I was reading a story with a kiddo last year where we talked about cobblestones. And so I pulled up my phone and Googled a picture of what a cobblestone was. So you may come across things like that, like brick. You know, even common words that some of us know that they may not be as familiar with. So just being open to, you know, if they're looking at you a little confused, just being open to the fact that, you know, they may have a very different background, a very different set of vocabulary, and just different knowledge from their home lives. And it's really fun to learn about their cultures. I had a kiddo last year from El Salvador, and just learning about all of their family traditions and how important family was for them. It was really neat to spend that time. So, I mean, some of what we do at the beginning of the tutoring session is just a super quick connect, like maybe asking your tutees a quick question about them, like if it's a Monday, you know, what did you do over the weekend? And so it's really fun to learn more about them. And then probably the biggest piece of this slide that I want to emphasize is the productive struggle. So as volunteers, what I've observed through the years, and I used to do this myself, it's really easy to want to help them with the answer. But part of learning, a big part of learning, is having them go through a productive struggle. And so you can encourage them, you can maybe give them some tips to get to the answer, but letting the student get to the answer, or sound out the word, or, you know, add intonation to their speaking, their reading, that is on them, and we should really push them to set high expectations. So building self-esteem. We have some learners, especially the older kiddos, some of them know they're behind, right? They're struggling, and school sometimes isn't fun for them because, you know, if you don't know how to do something, it's not so fun. So just encouraging any positive thing that you see in your tutoring session. You know, even if they don't get the right answer, just see, gosh, I see how hard you're working today. Like, that is amazing. So just catching them in a moment where they're doing something right, like giving them some positive feedback. And then rewarding effort, not getting the right answer is super important. Being really explicit about the structure of the tutoring lesson. A lot of times with my kiddos, I would start by saying, you know, first we're going to do this, next we're going to do this, and then when we have a few minutes at the end, we're going to play a little game of hangman. So, or I'm going to let you pick out a sticker. I always bring, and totally up to you guys, and we have some if you want. I bring little stickers to my tutoring sessions, and I just buy them on Amazon. They're like little laptop stickers. They're like $3 or $4. And I let them each pick out a sticker at the end of the lesson, and they know they're going to get it. And actually, you can use it as a motivator. Like, oh, remember, if we do a good job in today's lesson, you get a sticker. We have another way of rewarding behavior that I'll talk about in a minute, too. So just, again, challenging them with love, paying attention, noticing them, hearing them, making them feel supported, and really helps with the learning process. All right, so sometimes you will get some minor disruptive behavior. And sometimes kiddos are tired. I had a kiddo a few years ago who was sleeping in the same bedroom with a newborn baby. And so he would come to school and he'd be like, oh my God, I was up all, you know, the baby was crying. And so sometimes they're just tired. You know, you don't really know what's going on in home lives. So just being attuned to that, and sometimes if you're a kiddo that's really exhausted, you might need to take some breaks. You know, do a little chunks of learning. So 5 minutes, and you take a little break, and then you pick up the learning again. So sometimes saying their name, you know, they're annoying another kid or poking their neighbor, you know, saying their name, Angie, you know, kind of gets them to focus on you. What I've done in the past too with minor disruptive behaviors, I've given kiddos a job. Like, oh, you're going to be my pen holder today, or you're going to hold the whiteboard. Last year we used SIPS slides for our SIPS phonics program, and I had one kiddo that loved advancing the slides. And so that's what she did every tutoring session, but it actually really worked. She was very focused on her job. So that's a thought too. So addressing really persistent misbehavior. So we spoke with both principals on campus. So at Belhaven, If you've got a kiddo in your group that really continues to misbehave, Bellhaven wants that student sent to the office with a note. So just a note card or a little sticky, because once they get to the office, the office will ask them, what's going on? And if they don't have a note, the kid will say, I don't know, they just told me to go to the office. So yeah, so writing a little note, just a short note, what the misbehavior is. At Castano, they want the same thing, but they want that kiddo to go to the teacher. So this was the principal's guidance. I encourage you when you have your meet and greet just to confirm this with your classroom teacher, because there are a few classrooms where the teacher may have a different thought, and depending on the kiddos too. And then this is the other way we can reward good behavior. So each one of our tutor bins this year in the classroom is going to have cash that they can use at the school store. So at Castano it's called Cougar Cash, and at Bellhaven it's Panther Paws. And we're going to be given $21 fake bills. And you can do that. You can use those to reward good behavior. So your group's like on task, killing it that day, give them a Panther Paw or a Cougar Cash. And we'll be able to replenish them. I'd encourage you not to do it every single time, because, obviously, right, then they're going to be like, I'm going to get it anyway. Like Pavlov's dog. But when you see really good behavior, that's kind of a fun way. So maybe you use stickers a little more often, and then, for really good behavior, you use the store cash. And then supporting teachers. So really, the best thing we can do with, to support the teaching team is arrive on time, go in quietly. The teachers are also working with kiddos during the time we come in. So we come in during the all-school intervention period where it's all hands on deck. So everybody's working with students and supporting students. So it's not a great time to ask your teacher questions because they've got their own group. So if you have questions, the best thing to do is to either go to your lead volunteer or message your teacher outside of the school hours so they, in their downtime, they can respond and think about it. And this bullet point, second to the bottom above flexibility, is super important. We're really there to support students. You may notice there are some learning differences, but believe me, the teachers are on it. So if you're seeing something that is really upsetting to you, let us know. Don't try to diagnose. That's not what we're there for. We're really not trained for that. Well, most of us. There may be a few. So if you don't agree with your teacher for some reason, talk to us at RCP. So myself or Susan McLeod, my program director, who's not here today. She's at a wedding actually. Or your site director. Any of us. Let us know if you've got any issues. And just finally, we have a lot of resources. On Monday, we're going to be here again from 9 to 11 as a drop-in. So if you have any questions about tutoring and working with students, your curriculum, come on Monday between 9 and 11. If you can't make that, please reach out to us. We'll set something else up. We want you to be really well prepared when you start on the week of September 29th. We have monthly gatherings that are also drop-in. They're here. You can come in, ask questions, talk about challenges you're having. We're going to have ongoing training opportunities, like I said, the one we have on Monday. The district does assessments with all the students. They're very data-driven, which is amazing. So we often will get feedback on how our students are doing, which I love. And then we have a tutor resource file that actually we're moving to our website. So we're in the process of moving that, but as soon as we have that set up, we'll send out a link that'll have all kinds of resources for curriculum. And just a few little quotes from the teachers. We survey the teachers every year to get some feedback. And we're going to save the questions to the end because I want to give Shauna plenty of time. And with that, I am turning the floor over to the amazing Shauna.